44 past the hour. Here with us now, co-founder of Purple Nation Solutions, crisis manager Lanny Davis. He's out now with a new book, Crisis Tales: 5 Rules for Coping with Crises in Business, Politics, and Life.
And life.
And life.
That's the most important part of it there. Let's find out about that.
Let's do that. But let's continue the conversation we've had, because, you know, we used to, in the 90s, we'd butt heads all the time. Some really, really tough, angry debates.
But we've grown wiser.
Well, we have, but also, even off the air, it was never personal.
No.
And we're talking about how things have changed so much that, actually, personally, I think all of us have great interactions with people, but whether it's Twitter or whether it's, you know, emails, whatever it is, the blogosphere, online has coarsened the debate so much.
It's rough.
So if I can shamelessly segue to the book I wrote, I start with my first rule, which answers what's happening in politics. And Paul Ryan and Chris Van Hollen should start there, which is start with facts. Let's agree on facts. Then we'll do our political philosophy and our differences. But if you start with name-calling with the internet, this vicious anonymity name-calling, you're never going to get to home plate, either in a crisis or in a political stalemate.
So you get the facts out first of all. What's the next thing you do?
After you do that, you've got to have messages that people understand. I think the Obama White House has often failed on simplifying things down. For example, I'm strongly supporting the health care legislation. They lost that debate early on because they let the Republicans define it. You just heard Paul Ryan, a government takeover. This is an entirely private insurance system on a competitive exchange. That's a conservative idea, which he embraced. There is no government takeover here other than requiring pre-existing conditions and certain requirements. Barack Obama didn't even support the public option, which most liberals like me did support.
Right.
So they lost the debate because they lost and didn't command the heights of the message that this is a good thing for America. And I think that's an example of poor, simple messages.
So what was the secret of Bill Clinton's success in crisis management? This was a guy who was famously dismissed when he was president. We heard a lot of people on Sunday shows predicting he would be gone by the end of the week, and he kept his head down, and he survived some scandals. How did he do it?
You know, it took a long time because this was a subject humiliating and painful to admit in public, his private behavior. But America...
I mean, and by the way, I'm asking this question because you were there, and it plays a big role in crisis management for you. I'm not gratuitously bringing this up, of course. So take your experience. Feel free to answer the book.
I started my book out that my life changed, and I learned this discipline of law, media, and politics, starting with President Clinton. And he suffered greatly and ultimately had to convince the American people that he was sorry. And once he did that, America is very forgiving if they think it's authentic and they think people have been put through enough to justify their forgiveness.
Okay, so you, let's just get to some of your rules, because the last one is so interesting to me, especially given what you just said. Get ahead of the story, fight for the truth using the law, media, and politics, and never represent yourself in a crisis?
You're looking at a victim of reading a story about somebody who is an awful person and represents the wrong clients, and it seemed very one-sided and distorted, and I thought to myself, this is in the New York Times, that person needs a good crisis manager, and I realized, wait a minute, that's me.
Right.
I try to organize and manage my own crisis at the end of the year between Christmas and New Year's with my family surrounding me. I did a terrible job, didn't get the facts out, violated every rule I tell clients not to violate, and I told the story of learning all the wrong lessons by violating these rules, and I thought it would be telling for me to tell that story.
Do you ever have a crisis to manage that you could not manage?
No. Honestly, there are certain individuals I would never represent because they're incapable. I represented Penn State University, helped the trustees tell the story of why they removed Joe Paterno, but I would never represent Jerry Sandusky, an evil predator. So if somebody does something terrible, I have represented people who are ready to own up, take responsibility, and fix the problem, but do it quickly.
Right.
Do it quickly, and that's the key part of the book, is tell it all, tell it early, tell it yourself.
So how do you deal with human nature, though? You have a client, you know, tremendous issues surrounding that client, and human nature is such that a lot of people want to delay, deny. How do you deal with the human nature aspect of crisis management?
It's a problem and a great question, Michael, because everybody in crisis has the wrong instinct, is to hold the information back. It takes people like me to stand up to the lawyers who are usually saying, deny, we'll win it in court. And I say, you're going to have a ruined reputation if you listen to your lawyers. So it's a battle between lawyers and people who want to tell the truth quickly and get it over with. But it's the instinct is to deny Richard Nixon going forward.
Very quickly, good to see you. My first assignment as a professional was something Lanny Davis asked me to do with Patton Boggs. Good to see he's a mentor and a friend. Let's take some real life challenges. How would you advise Lance Armstrong, a friend? How would you advise him?
Well, full disclosure, I did talk to their lawyers, and I thought he did a good job on Oprah beginning, but he didn't finish. And the finish is all the facts. What Geraldine Ferrara did is a noun in our vocabulary. Do a Geraldine Ferrara, everything. And then make it a teaching moment. He knows everything about doping. Nobody's a more expert about doping than he. He should be a teacher and get rid of this and clean it out. And he could be a leader in that movement. He's never going to be able to be over it. He's always going to be tarred with it, but he can do good with that lesson.
He's still trying to play it. He didn't apologize to the people whose lives he tried to destroy for telling the truth. When Oprah asked why people should forgive him, he said, because I deserve it. I mean, wrong.
He started it with Oprah. I didn't think he finished it. I wish he had. He can still finish it, but I still think he can turn something bad into good if he teaches and cleans this thing up.
Yeah.
Tell your boy Seth I said hello. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Seth Davis is writing a book, too. Someday he'll be on Morning.
All right, we can't wait, Lanny.
Thank you.
The book is Crisis Tales, 5 Rules for Coping with Crises in Business, Politics, and Life. You can read an excerpt on our website, mojo.msnbc.com. Lanny Davis, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lanny.
Thank you,
Always
Joe.
great to see you.